Hey, this is Julian and you are on EatTheBlocks, and in this last video in the Ethereum token series, I'm going to introduce ERC1400. ERC1400 is a security token standard and it was created by Polymath, which is the leader in this domain. So the goal of this standard is to represent a security on the blockchain. A security is a special kind of financial instrument that can be traded on public exchanges, such as a share of a company. Securities can be quite complex. For example, you have things like a corporate action where one share is divided into several shares, or you can also have some seizure of assets where some authority seizes your stock and transfers them by force to someone else. So we can't really use ERC20 to represent security. We need a new standard, and that's why there is ERC400. So ERC400 is actually an umbrella standard, and itself it contains 4 other standards. So the first one defines the core functionality, so you can transfer tokens, create them, burn them, a little bit like in ERC20. So the next one, ERC1410, allows to create partition of token and attach metadata to them. For example, this can be used to represent different class of stocks, such as preferred stock, common stock, and for each of these groups, you have different rights and rules that apply. The next standard, ERC1463, allows to attach document to your token. So with security, you usually have a ton of legal document, so this standard can be used to attach this off-chain document to the token on-chain. And finally, with ERC1644, you can do forced token transfer. So securities are always subject to a lot of regulation, and in some cases, some regulatory authority can decide that they want to seize the stock of a certain individual, and in order to do this, you need to be able to do forced token transfer. So these standards allow for this. Alright, so now let's see the Solidity interface of this standard. So we'll see each substandard, and we're going to start by the core token standard, so ERC1594. So this allows to create token with this issue function, and also burn token with this redeem function. So this is similar to ERC20. However, there is this isIssuable function that tells you if the token is able to issue some share. And this is used to reflect the life cycle of securities. So first you sell the share to investor in the primary market, such as in an IPO. And once this is finished, you enter another phase of the life cycle, which is the trading. So with this function isIssuable, you can control where you are in this life cycle. Then you have 2 functions to transfer token. So you have normal transfer and a delegated transfer. But the difference with ERC20 is that you can attach some data to this transfer function, and inside your transfer function, you can use this data to determine if the transfer can take place or not. So for example, you could fetch this data from outside the blockchain by using an Oracle pattern. For example, if the volatility on the market is too high, then you can decide to stop token transfer for a moment. And you also have 2 functions that can tell you if a transfer can take place. So this is really one of the big differences with ERC20. In this standard, a token transfer does not work all the time. You can apply all set of rules that determine if a transfer can take place or not. Alright, so now let's see the next standard of ERC400. So with ERC1410, you can a partition of token and attach metadata to them. So let's start by the creation of this partition. So here in this group of function, we can create and destroy partition. So issue by partition. So you specify the partition as a byte 32. Then you have to give a recipient address for the token holder. Then you state how much token you want to create, and you can attach some metadata to this partition. For example, this partition could be preferred stock or common stock. Then you can remove the partition with this redeem partition function, and an operator can also burn a partition with this function. Then once you have this partition in place, then to do token transfer, now you need to use the transfer by partition function. So you specify which partition you want to transfer, then the recipient of the token and how much token, and then you specify some metadata if you need it. An operator can also transfer token on behalf of someone else. And you can also check if a transfer in a specific partition will work or not with this function, can transfer by partition. If you want to get some info on this partition, you also have this balance of by partition function. So you specify the partition and the token holder. You can also have a list of all the partition of a specific token holder with partition off. And finally, you get some function to manage operators. So you can authorize an operator to transfer token on your behalf, revoke this authorization, and make it specific for a whole partition. And that's pretty much it for this part of the standard. All right, so let's scroll down. And next we will see ERC1400, which enable to do forced token transfer. So you can decide whether or not you want to enable this feature in your token, and this function is controllable, will tell you if a token can do forced transfer or not. So if that's the case, then the authority that is allowed to do this forced token transfer can call the controller transfer function, or it can also burn some token by force by calling the controller redeem function. So there is no function to specify who is this controller. So one way you could do authentication is by providing this operator data in the argument of the function here, which could be a signature. And inside the transfer function here, you would check that this signature match with some predetermined value. All right, so let's scroll down, and now the last standard of ERC400 is 1643. So with this standard, you can do document management. For example, when you issue some new share, then usually you'll have a sort of a legal document. I think that is called a memorandum or something like this. And you can attach this off-chain document to your token on-chain with this set of function. So to attach a function, you will call the set document function. So you'll specify the name of the document, the URL, and the hash of the document. So that's because you don't actually store the document on chain, but you will only specify a hash. So then anyone can go to this URL, compute the hash of the document, and make sure that it matches with the hash that is inside the smart contract. So if anybody try to forge the document, then the hash will be different and it'll be obvious that there is a problem. So that's it for ERC1643. It's possible to make ERC400 compatible with ERC20 or ERC777, but in this case, you need to implement the function of the standard in your token. And since in ERC20 and ERC777 there is no concept of partition, then you will need to decide which partition will be transferred by ERC20 or ERC777 standard. So this is not ideal. As you can see, there is really a lot of information to learn about all these Ethereum tokens. That's why I've created this short cheat sheet with all the most important information about Ethereum tokens like ERC20, ERC721, etc. If you want to get your hand on it for free, all you have to do is to follow the link in the description. If you want to know more about the ERC400 standard, you can check the official specification at this address. Just a little trick, you will find more information if you click on the EIP folder, and you will see the detailed info for each of the substandard of ERC400. And also be aware that ERC400 is not the only token security standard. There are many other. You can check out this list. That's it for this video, and in the next video I'll show you how you can make blockchain jobs come to you without applying to any of these jobs. So this is going to be super cool. Make sure to watch this video. Thanks for watching. See you for the next video. Bye bye.